Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our Tech Tuesday, my favorite time of the week, when I get to share a little bit more information that I've picked up as time goes by, learning a little bit more about this fascinating body of ours. And we've been covering the last couple of weeks all about that magical thing called metabolism. And what everybody complains about, that they've either got a slow metabolism or a fast metabolism, and their weight gain or weight loss is blamed on their metabolism. And we've learned so far that that's not always the case, that sometimes bigger people have a faster metabolism than slimmer people, purely because they've got more fat, more weight to burn off, more energy to burn off, basically. So we've covered a few things on metabolism. Please feel free to go back to previous recordings. They're all there. But let me share my screen and go on to the next bit. Slide a couple of the, oops. Doesn't want to do this tonight. There we go. Okay, so hard to believe, but January is finished. And so the new year isn't so new anymore. But we still are a new you, because this is where most decisions are made, is in January. And that sets the tone for how the rest of your year is going to be. So what are the best foods that we can use to boost our metabolism? It's true that certain foods may help slightly increase your metabolic rate. That is the number of calories your body burns. And if you speak to a dietitian or a nutritionist, they'll always talk about calories. And if you're wanting to lose weight, for instance, you need to put in fewer calories than what you're burning off. In other words, you need to ensure that your metabolism is faster than the intake of your food that's coming in. Adding these foods to your routine may make it slightly easier to lose body fat or prevent excess weight gain, if that's your goal. If you are considered overweight, what you want to do is you don't want to aim to become a beanpole. You don't want to try and get down to the figure that you see in magazines, because a lot of those figures have been photoshopped. And it's not really humanly possible for somebody to get down to that minute size. It's not for everybody. So you need to get down to your ideal weight. And that varies from person to person. And I'll even go so far as to say, don't worry about a specific weight. Look at your centimeters, look at your measurements, because your scale figures are going to vary throughout the day. In the racing world, if a jockey needs to make a certain weight, they can jump in a sauna, they can put on a sweat pack, go for a run. They can do all sorts of funny things simply to bring the scale range down. So if they should be, say, 55 kilos, they can technically, artificially, bring themselves down to 52 or 53 kilos very rapidly. And in the racing world, weight is almost as carefully monitored as it is. So the horse racing world, should I say, weight is also almost as carefully monitored as is in the motor racing world, where obviously it's a little bit easier. So weight number on your scale varies. It's your centimeters that are more important. So if you do feel that you've a little bit of excess weight that you need to lose, well, there are certain foods that you can use to lose the body fat. It's not the weight that you want to lose the fat. Because remember, if you building muscle instead of losing, or when you're losing fat, muscle is heavier than fat. However, eating more of these foods doesn't guarantee that you will lose your weight. Instead, they serve as a complement to a balanced, moderately calorie-restricted diet to promote weight loss along with regular exercise. So simply changing your diet isn't going to result in you losing the 50 kilos that you've decided that you want to lose. The same as joining up with a gym and going to work out frantically every day or every 2 days isn't going to get you to lose the weight. And I sometimes see people running out along the road, and I can see why they're out running, and I'm very impressed with the fact that they are out exercising because they are overweight. And I feel the urge to just pull up next to them and say, listen, can I assist you? You're obviously wanting to lose weight, but running down the road like you are isn't going to do it on its own. But I'm not that cheeky or not that forward. So here are 11 foods that may help rev up your metabolism. Not guaranteed, doesn't work for everybody, but has been shown that they could assist. Number one is your protein-rich foods. And this is the big thing. If you're wanting to lose weight, make sure your diet is rich in protein. Protein-rich foods could help increase your metabolism for a few hours. So this is why you'll often find athletes will have a high protein meal a couple of hours before a competition, because that means that their metabolism and their energy is boosted. And this is because they require your body to use more energy to digest them. And this is known as the thermic effect of food, or TEF, or diet-induced thermogenesis. Big words, don't stress about them. The TEF refers to the number of calories your body needs to digest, absorb, and process the nutrients in your meals. Research shows that protein-rich foods increase TEF the most. And this is why in our weight management program, what is the key? Our protein shake, which is a high protein shake. For example, they increase your metabolic rate by 15 to 30% compared to 5 to 10% for carbs and 0 to 3% for fats. So it's always good, if you're wanting to lose a bit of weight, start with protein. Now, what sort of foods can we get that are high in protein? They include things like lean meat, fish, eggs, dairy, beans and legumes, nuts, seeds, and protein-rich diets also reduce the drop in metabolism often seen during weight loss by helping your body hold on to its muscle mass. What's more, protein may also keep you fuller for longer, which can prevent overeating. Now, for those who don't use Near-Life Shake on a regular basis, I don't use it on a regular basis, but I do use it over a weekend, especially with parkrun or going to events and things like that. And when traveling, I find it is a brilliant meal to make me feel full without making me feel drowsy. But if you have your protein shake, I don't know about you, but I've noticed that with me, I don't feel any hunger pangs for a good 4 hours or more. So that makes me know or realize that by having a high protein meal to start with, and your protein shake is the quickest and easiest way, as opposed to your steak, egg, and chips, is the quickest and easiest way to get a high protein meal. But that is also why it is part of the weight management program, because it's there to prevent those snacks or prevent the urge for snacks, as well as to just keep you feeling full. The next thing is mineral-rich foods. The minerals, iron and selenium, each play different but equally important roles in the proper functioning of your body. However, they do have one thing in common. They're both required for your thyroid gland to function properly. And this gland regulates your metabolism. And this is the reason why people whose thyroid glands are malfunctioning, they can be overactive or underactive. And usually the underactive thyroid leads to weight gain, whereas the overactive thyroid leads to weight loss. Research shows that a diet too low in iron or selenium may reduce your thyroid's ability to produce sufficient amounts of hormones, which could slow down your metabolism. So people with a thyroid problem need to be very, very careful about what it is they eat. To help your thyroid function to the best of its ability, include foods rich in selenium and iron, like meat, seafood, legumes, nuts, and seeds in your daily menu. And I'm going to say at this stage that if you suspect that you may have a problem with your thyroid, please see a suitably qualified medical practitioner who can test it. There are numerous medical tests that can be done to check and see if your thyroid is operating at its optimum level, or if it's running too fast, or if it's running too slow. Chili peppers is the next thing. Capsicum, which is a chemical found in chili peppers, may boost your metabolism by slightly increasing the rate at which your body burns calories. And me personally, I don't like chilies. I don't like anything spicy. But if you've ever watched somebody eat a very spicy meal, you'll notice that they develop this bead of perspiration along their brow, which is an indication that their metabolism has been rapidly increased over there. In fact, a review of studies notes that capsicum from supplements or the peppers themselves may help reduce body weight and benefit your overall health. Some studies report similar benefits with doses as low as 6 to 10 milligrams per day. This is equivalent to 1 jalapeno pepper. Moreover, capsicum may have appetite-reducing properties. According to a 2014 review of studies including nearly 200 people, consuming at least 2 milligrams of capsicum directly before each meal seems to reduce calorie consumption, especially from carbs. Similarly, adding cayenne pepper to your meal may increase the amount of fat your body burns for energy, especially following a high fat meal. And a lot of these spicy foods are often fried and not always grilled. However, this fat burning effect may only apply to people unaccustomed to consuming spicy foods. And like everything, if you have built up a tolerance factor, then you're not going to have quite the same effect. Same with medication. You can take a certain medication for months or years until your body hits its tolerance level, and the next time you have it, well, nothing's going to happen. It's not going to have the effect that it would have had. So if you're not used to eating spicy foods and you suddenly eat spicy foods, you could have this effect. If spicy foods is your regular diet 3 times a day, every day, then you're not going to have the same effect. But that said, findings are mixed on capsicum's metabolism boosting abilities. So to summarize, it will work for some people, it won't work for others. Pretty much like anything else. Some supplements work for some people, some don't. Some medications work for some people, some don't. So everybody has to do a little bit of trial and error to see what works best for them. Coffee. Anyone for coffee? The caffeine found in coffee may help increase your metabolic rate. So people living on coffee first thing in the morning might be onto something, but I wouldn't really recommend it. Maybe having a cup of coffee with a protein shake. Might work, might not too sure. Research notes some compounds in coffee can help regulate the body's metabolism of lipids or fats. Furthermore, caffeine may help your body burn fat for energy. Remember, fat is potential energy. And his name, one of our SAB members likes to say that nobody has got energy in their body. They've got potential energy. And in his very dry Texan humor, he likes to say, some people have got more potential energy than others. It seems especially effective at boosting your workout performance, according to older research. So have a cup of coffee, or at least caffeine, just before a workout, and you could improve your performance. I know I personally like to have a cup of tea around about an hour before I go for my run on a Saturday morning, and I found it works quite nicely to keep me going energy-wise throughout the run. However, its effects may vary from person to person based on individual characteristics such as body weight and age. The other thing is tea, because remember, tea also contains caffeine. Now, tea also contains health-boosting compounds called catechins that may work with caffeine to boost your metabolic rate, which is why a lot of dietary supplements contain green tea, which are very high in catechins and obviously in caffeine. Both oolong and matcha green tea may increase fat oxidation and may help you burn extra calories when part of an exercise plan. Again, on its own, not going to do much. In combination, does a whole lot. Think of a recipe. Would you have an egg on its own, raw? Would you have flour on its own, raw? Would you have milk? Maybe you can have some milk. But you mix them all together with a bit of sugar and a bit of salt and a bit of this and a bit of that. All of those individual items you probably wouldn't enjoy individually, but put them all together and you have something that tastes really good. Same with weight management. You do just tea, you do just coffee, you do just protein, you do just exercise. It's not going to work. You've got to put everything together before it will work effectively. In addition, oolong and green teas may help your body use stored fat for energy more effectively and thus increase your fat burning ability. Nonetheless, as with coffee, effects may vary from person to person. Again, everybody is unique. You have to find out what works for you. Beans and legumes is the next thing. These are particularly high in protein compared with other plant foods. And examples include things like lentils, peas, chickpeas, black beans, peanuts. Studies suggest their high protein content requires your body to burn more calories to digest them compared with lower protein foods. And this is due to their TEF. And I made a silly mistake recently. If I'm watching a movie, for instance, I like to nibble on things, and my go-to is often peanuts. And I probably had a few more than what I should have had, and later than what I should have had. And I didn't sleep well that night because my energy levels were so high that I could feel them burning off about 2 or 3 hours later. And unfortunately, I'm a bit of a slow learner. I know this happens from time to time, and I don't always regulate myself accordingly. Legumes also contain dietary fiber, including resistant starch and soluble fiber, which your body can use as a prebiotic to feed the good bacteria in your large intestine. Remember, we've got both good and bad bacteria in our intestine. And according to Dr. Ariana Karugi, there is just so much real estate in your intestine. So you need to get that balance right. There has to be slightly more good bacteria than bad bacteria. And if you're not having sufficient fiber in your diet, then the good bacteria isn't going to thrive as well as what it should do. And remember, fiber comes in multiple forms: soluble, insoluble, lignans, pectins. There's a whole mess of them, but I'm not going to get into that right now. In turn, these friendly bacteria produce short-chain fatty acids, which may help your body more effectively use stored fat as energy and maintain normal blood sugar levels, which is why it is so important that a diabetic has sufficient fiber in their diet to keep their blood sugar levels normal or stabilized, as well as mopping up excess sugar in their kidneys. Next thing is ginger. Ginger and related spices are thought to have particularly beneficial metabolism boosting properties. Ginger may help with weight management, obesity prevention, as well as energy metabolism. For instance, older research shows that dissolving 2 grams of ginger powder in hot water and drinking it with a meal may help you burn up to 43 more calories than drinking hot water alone. Now, some people might enjoy that flavor. Again, I'm not particularly partial to ginger. I've probably just never acquired a taste for it, but I know it's very, very good. And I know the plants, or at least the flowers from the plant, smell really nice. So if you don't want to just drink the warm water or hot water, add a little bit of ginger powder, and it might very well, A, make it taste better, but be more effective for the reason that you're drinking the hot water in the first place. This hot ginger drink may also decrease the hunger levels and enhance feelings of satiety or fullness. So you won't want to have that little snack in between. Grains of paradise, which is another spice in the ginger family, may have similar effects. I must say I've never heard of this particular thing, but that is for another day. According to a review of research, consuming it may raise your body's resting energy expenditure. These effects may vary from one person to another, however. More research is still needed. And as with anything, scientists should never be satisfied with an answer. They should always look at variables and keep experimenting, keep testing, keep researching, because the information you see today might not always be the same another day. Excuse me for 1 second. Cacao is the next thing. Cacao and cocoa are tasty treats that may also benefit your metabolism. Now, don't go off and have a slab of chocolate saying that it's made from cacao or cocoa, because there's way too much sugar involved with that. Flavonoids in the cacao and cocoa byproducts may help support metabolic actions and help reduce hypertriglyceridemia. We won't try and break that one down to anything over here, but your metabolism will be sped up through the flavonoids. And this is why, if you can't get cacao or cocoa, have a flavonoid complex. May very well have the same effect. Another research review suggests that cocoa and dark chocolate may help reduce body weight, a factor that can contribute to the risk of metabolic and cardiovascular disorders. So this is why they tell you that a slab or two, or should I say a little square out of a slab of dark chocolate, meaning the 80% plus, might be good for you. Just like red wine is considered good for you, you don't want to go and drink the entire bottle in one go. A glass at a time is good. However, more human studies are needed before strong conclusions can be drawn on the effects of cocoa. If you'd like to give cacao a try, opt for the raw versions, like with anything. The more raw, the more neat it is, the better it is. Processing tends to reduce the amounts of beneficial compounds and add extra sugar and calories. The next thing is medium chain triglyceride oil, or MCT. This is, for instance, coconut oil is a unique type of fat that may offer some metabolic benefits. Most fats found in foods are long-chain triglycerides, but MCT oil comprises medium-chain triglycerides. Some older studies have shown that MCT oil consumption can increase the metabolic rate in humans. Additionally, unlike long-chain fats, once MCTs are absorbed, they go directly to the liver to be turned into energy. This makes them less likely to be stored as body fat. In other words, they are processed immediately. MCT oil is typically taken as a supplement, although it can be added to foods like soups or smoothies. It's not suitable for cooking, however. Water. Drinking enough water is a great way to stay hydrated. Additionally, other studies or older studies show that drinking water may briefly boost metabolism by 24 to 30%. How's that for a quick shot? Researchers note that about 40% of that increase is explained by the additional calories needed to heat the water to body temperature, known as water-induced thermogenesis. I still would not recommend drinking ice water straight off. However, the effects only appear to last for 40 to 90 minutes after drinking the water. But hey, if you're on a weight management program, every little bit helps, right? The strength of the effect may vary from person to person, yet again. Now, the next thing is seaweed. Seaweed is rich in iodine, which is a mineral required to produce thyroid hormones and for your thyroid gland to function properly. Thyroid hormones have various functions, one of which is to regulate your metabolic rate. Regularly consuming seaweed can help you meet your iodine needs and maintain your metabolic health. What's more, fucoxanthin is another seaweed-based compound, primarily found in brown seaweeds, that may increase your metabolism of lipids. I'm not too sure about you, but I wouldn't really be liking to go and eat seaweed as it washes up on the beach. However, I do know that that can be taken, cleaned, dried, crushed into powder. And in fact, when I was dating my wife many, many moons ago, she was part of a medical research experiment involving seaweed, and they used seaweed to make bread. And part of the research was she had to have regular blood tests and have 1 or 2 slices of the seaweed bread on a daily basis. Apparently it was pretty good. And that is the end of that. So now you know all about metabolism, what it does, what it doesn't do, and how you can use it to your advantage to maintain your weight, your ideal weight. Does anybody have any comments or questions before I stop recording? We've still got a couple of minutes over here.